Good morning everybody, welcome back to Sean's World. Now it's day 13 of the Advent. I'm just about to open the door on 13 very shortly, but before I do that I want you to see something. In the night we've had blocked pipes and we've had a bit of a leak on the floor, so it's chaos central at the moment. So in the very early hours of the morning I came down to find most of the kitchen floor flooded, so out come the towels and the buckets and mops, and yeah, it wasn't a good start to the day. Whether 13 is an omen or not, I'm not quite sure. So the kitchen is in complete chaos. Can't wash up, can't do anything, no dishwasher. So I'm washing up in a bucket at the moment. Not a great start, never mind. So first thing this morning, I was down the builder's merchants, got all my pipe work, and I've got to replace pretty much all of the pipe. Now I can put caustic in there to clean the pipe work, but where there's a leak it's going to be a messy job, and caustic soda, when you've got a fosse septique, which is a tank that holds all your waste, you need a good biological activation going on in there. When you put caustic in there, I think that destroys the good bacteria, if you like, so I've avoided that, and I don't really like using stuff like that, so I'm going to cut the pipe work out, maybe put some rodding eyes on there for future. So yeah, let's just get this done and dusted. And there you go, all the bits and pieces that I'm going to need, hopefully, but with plumbing you never know, you always need something extra. Right, before I forget, let's open box 13. So yes, we're well over halfway, and we have, wow, a sparkly tea light. Now I would imagine it probably goes in there, not the ribbon, so we're getting quite an assortment now. Wow, exciting, yeah, I know. Okay, so that's 13 out of the way. Hopefully I'll get the plumbing done. But before you do any plumbing work, as any plumber would tell you, they need copious amounts of tea. So I'm going to have a cup of tea, sit down, plan it through and get started. There we go. Today we have a nice drop of Tetley. So there we go. Drop my milk. Feel like I can take on anything now. So you find me on my hands and knees under the sink, and it's not very pleasant. Welcome to the real Sean's World. Doesn't appear to be too blocked actually, so it may be further down the line. So I think I'm going to cut the pipe. I'm going to cut it about there. Enough room to get my coupling on, and then see what the state of play is. I can look that way and I can look up that way. So before I do that, I'm going to make sure I've got somewhere to catch the water. I've also got a sponge. I've got a feeling it might be rather full and rather nasty. There's only one way to find out. Let's do it. Now what I plan to do, when you get a situation like this and you make a straight cut and you can't move the pipe work either way, you can create a floating collar. So that way you can just sort of lower the pipe down, push it up, and then back in. That gets you out of trouble sometimes. Here goes. Okay, maybe the blockage is further that way. Needed to cut it, so not a problem. So I stripped all the waste traps out underneath the sink. Not too bad though, not enough to stop the flow of water. Checked all the seals, they're all okay. I'm going to put a bucket underneath the open end of the pipe and I'm going to flush that section through. Shouldn't be too bad. I think my problem is further down the line, so I'm just going to do that and see what I'll get out of it. Now I can safely flush from the sink end and wash all this section out, because that corner behind the units is quite tricky, so if I can clear this I'm happy about that, and I'll leave that and I'll work my way that way. So ready to go with that. Good excuse to get the kettle on, nice hot water, give it a flush through. There we go, check for leaks. Wonder where that blockage really is. Now I've lowered the end of the pipe that goes that way towards the fosse, which is your waste collection. I've moved back to this point, and this section here runs down a gradient that way. So what I'm going to do is lower it down into the bucket, and then anything in that line will come back into the bucket. Let's see. Yeah, my blockage is further along. Now that may have been enough to clear the blockage, so flushing it back may have dislodged it. I'm going to temporarily connect it back up and then run a flush through it. May have just done it, you never know. Let's give that a go. That sounds like I may have dislodged the blockage, partial blockage. So I'm not getting no water back towards the sink end. I've lifted a pipe up. This normally connects down here. So I've disconnected that, raised it above, and I'm going to fill it with water. And I'll connect it up and give it a final flush. Yep, she's flowing good. It's going somewhere, it's leaving the building. No, that's running freely away now. That's great. Now for those of you that have got a nervous disposition or you're eating, I'd look away now, because what come out of the pipe isn't very pleasant. I won't dwell on it. I cut the whole section of the pipe out in the end. I've still got a partial blockage the other end. Yeah, not nice, is it? I think part of the cause of the blockage is the pipe in the middle, the long run behind the dresser. I think we've knocked it out of its clips when we've been moving furniture. So it sort of sagged in the middle. Well, of course, that's where all the fat and everything collects in the food, so it slowly built up. I'll put a few more brackets in, I think, and get the new pipe working, and that should be as right as rain. Yeah, no problem really. I mean, I've done 10 years in an oil refinery working on unblocking, you know, big pipes and small as well. So yeah, I think it's going to serve me well here. So I'll get cracking on with this. A late lunch today. Yeah, no problems. We'll get there. I think it's time to go and find some drain rods, which are plastic sort of pipes, if you like. It's going to go inside the blockage and loosen it up and then back flush it. And that's the pipe work out the window with the camembert. Good riddance. So I've just had a delicious lunch. Camembert, which is a baguette with ham and butter. And I had some duck pate, which was also nice. So I'm going to have a cup of tea, put my feet up, let it go down. Then I'm going to finish this off. That's going to get some use today, I can tell you. So here we go for another round. I think the next thing I'll do, I'll start making up the sets. That means putting the pieces together. Now what I normally do, I'll talk you through it as I do it. I connect it all together, all the joints dry with no glue in them. And what I'll do, I'll mark them. So you set it all out, get all your angles and your cuts, mark them, and then when you come to glue all the joints together, it makes it so much easier. So that's what we're going to do. So I better get started. So that's the next stage. Like I say, you don't glue any of the joints at this stage. You just push them all together, mark the lengths, and you won't go far wrong with it. Right, let's get that little section cut, join the two together, and set out the other end. As well as needing all the usual tools that you will do with plumbing, you'll also need a little bit of sandpaper. When you cut the end of a pipe, obviously it gets a little bit furry. So it's important to take that off to make it a nice tight fit. And when you put glue on it, don't put too much glue on it, just coat both sides up well, and then twist as you're pushing it in, get good coverage. And also you'll need lots of rag, lots of towels that you're allowed to use, sponges, and some kitchen roll, because you need to have dry joints before you glue them. So right, one more bit to measure up and we'll get this end set. So we're going to use this PVC glue. It's proper glue. Don't scrimp and scrape on your glue. It's good quality. Make sure you use the best. You don't want too much glue on it. Just a liberal coating. Spin it round. One coat on that side and the same on this side. Push together, and while you're doing it, turn fully, wipe off any excess glue. And you're good to go. So that bit's glued in place. This bit isn't. I'm going to push it together, going to mark it with a pencil, work out the gap between the two, cut that in, and then once I've you know, cut it all to size, I'm going to glue it together. So once I'm happy all the cuts are correct, I mark them, mark it there and there, and it just sets your angles correctly then. There's no guesswork. So that's that section all glued. Let it set for about 15 minutes before you touch it. Clamp it in place, have a cup of tea and then come back. Right, so let's get down the other end now. Now another handy tip when you're trying to find where your block lines are and you make cuts in them and you back flush, you can always use a drop of food colouring dye so you can trace to see what end it's coming out of. It's always helpful. Other than that, go on YouTube, learn how to do it. It's not difficult, just take your time and think things through. So we're nearly there. Brilliant. This last section glued up and we're ready for the test. And there's no leaks. That is brilliant. So I'll see you back tomorrow. This was a little bit unscripted today, but hopefully we'll get back on track tomorrow and I've got some great ideas. So see you on Advent 14. Bye for now.